Advice. I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. So I have, I had this upper respiratory virus that wreaked havoc on my body, and I have trouble breathing, more often than I breathe regularly. And yet, every time I get into this closet to record, I think I should sing and yell and talk for a lot before I start to talk for over an hour. So every time I come in here, I am super winded, and I'm like, God, why am I always so winded when I start this? And I'm like, well, I record, I video it, right? And so I hit record on the video way before I record the audio. I've thought about just releasing that whole beginning of it, because it's probably a little crazy. And I watched some of them, and I'm like, oh man, you belt out singing way more than you should, especially for someone who can't breathe very much. Hi, everybody. How are we? Let's see here. I had a day where a friend of mine told me about a deal that Target was having, where basically you buy 6 cleaning products that are normally, I think it's $65 or something altogether. And then they're on sale. So then it's really just $17. And then there's an app where you submit your receipt, and then they give you $10 back. So you basically get $10 for spending $65, right? So you get everything for free plus $10. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I went and saw what it was, and it's glass cleaning products. And then you just buy the refills, which is the refills are the same as a regular 409 bottle. And I don't know, with the whole world situation happening with the environment, over the last, several years, I've been trying to figure out different ways to help my footprint. I don't know what you say. Stop my footprint. Lessen my footprint, be better to the environment, right? And so I was looking into glass bottles, looking into reusable bottles for cleaning shit, and now I have that. But the problem is that everybody else in Los Angeles had the same idea. There's a couple of lessons here. So first, as you all know, I don't have a job, and I am not able to bartend anymore, and unemployment is making me refile with the job that gave me COVID, and I'm terrified that job is going to be no, we tried to hire her back and she said no, and then they're going to decline my unemployment. I'm terrified. I submitted today. I mean, it already sucks because it's the system is so fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. So I got a job in the pandemic because they were like, hey, we're not going to give you any more unemployment, so you better get a job. Because remember how they were like, unemployment is making people not want to work. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a pandemic. I don't want to get COVID. So I got this job because they were not going to give us unemployment anymore. And then the job gave me COVID, and I only worked the job less than 2 months and made way less than I did in my job before the pandemic, because it was just a part-time job or whatever, right? And so now I have COVID, or I don't have it anymore, but my body is forever changed. I'm dealing with that, and that is I don't know. I'm in a good mood, and I don't really want to talk about it, but that's a whole other battle I'm dealing with. But I know I'm not alone, by the way, and maybe I'll get into it. But so not only that, so they're making me refile, and this job can just be like, no, she didn't take her job back. And I'm like, of course I didn't take my job back. 1, I physically can't do it. And 2, you guys don't care about COVID regulations. I got COVID and worked while I want to stay away from this, just start talking about it, just in case there is, because I'm gonna fight it if they decline it. Most people I know are like, there's no way they're gonna decline it because they're afraid of you, because I think that there's legality, legal options I have if they decline it, but I'm not super stoked about it, and it's just all, it's a good time. But so I'm unemployed. And here's a fun lesson that I got from an old boss of mine, and I never listened to him 10 years ago, and now I listen to him. And now it just comes to me naturally, but I'm like, oh man, he was always so right. My old boss, Mikey, was this guy from New York. I got to give him a call, by the way. I love that man. And he and I used to he's like family to me. And he and I would like scream at each other, and people would be like, oh my God, you guys are so scary. We're like best friends. It's fine. But he used to always say to me, he's like, you know what, Kral? You fucking kill more bees. No, wait, you catch more bees with honey, Kral. I'm trying to do a Brooklyn accent. I don't have one. I don't think he's from Brooklyn. And if he listens to this and he's not from Brooklyn, I'm sure it's Staten Island, Long Island. I don't know. I don't know the boroughs, but I know he has a thick New York accent, right? But he used to always tell me I'd catch more bees with honey. Every time I'd get in a fight with somebody at that sports bar I worked at, he'd be like, you catch more bees with honey, Kral. And so today I got called from this random woman that I guess I did market research with like a very long time ago. And she called me to do this job today. And it was just like watch a TV show for an hour and then give an hour notes on the TV show. And then they'll give you $80. And right now I'm like, if you know of any of that weird ass work, like random work, please send it my way. I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. It always works out. You know that. But I am just trying to hustle while maintaining my health. It's very fun. I may be looking into disability options. That's apparently an option, which is super fucking weird. But I guess, that's where I'm at right now, which is cool. But so I show up today and they canceled me. And they were just like, yeah, sorry, they were supposed to call you. The company that hired you was supposed to call you. We replaced you. And they replaced me. Like, I guess they had already had somebody my age and demographic, right? Like it wasn't a personal thing. It was just like, oh, we already had somebody already booked, whatever. Right. So I called the woman and it was just like, hey, they canceled me, I guess they said. And she was just like, oh, you have to call my boss. I'm like, all right. So I call the boss. And, the woman got the cancellation at like 4 a.m. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I got it at 4 a.m. And I rolled over. I looked at it and was like, I'll remember that in the morning. And then I just simply didn't. And like, that's fair, right? It was like, it's not like I drove like 3 hours or whatever. Like I drove like maybe 8 minutes, right? Very close to my house. But I was like, oh, that's totally fine. I'm like, I totally get it. She's like, we'll keep you on our roster. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And it's just like, I was irritated, but like, it was no one's fault. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, like those people didn't have to call her at 4 a.m. Like she could have wrote it down. You know what I mean? But like, it was a human thing. A human thing happened. And so I was just like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, well, I will try and get you work. Thank you so much. And then the original woman text messaged me and she goes, hey, I was talking to my boss and we just really want to get you as much work as we possibly can because you're just so lovely. And we both agree that you just deserve to work more. How nice is that? And I was like, who wouldn't be lovely? Like, it's just so confusing to me. I'm like, who wouldn't be lovely to you about that? Yeah, I guess it is. And I know it's like scary time. So if people were like counting on that $80 to eat, maybe they'd take it out on someone. But I don't know, even then, like, yeah, I don't have a job and that would have been, some nice, like not, I wouldn't have made or broke me, but like, it would have been cool to, add to grist for the mill, but, oh my God, my kitten is just meowing like crazy. And let me just, Lucy. She just wants attention, but I don't know if I'm sorry about that. But it's driving me crazy. But yeah, so there's also like a little like hole in the wall theater here in LA called the Clubhouse. Yeah, the Clubhouse. And obviously it was shut down during COVID and I was on some list, I guess. Like I was on this list. I don't know why, but an email list where it was just like, hey, we're opening up the Clubhouse. You had submitted a show, to be performed here. And truthfully, maybe I did. I don't actually remember. So I'm like, that could have happened. Who knows? But they were like, you submitted a show. And so you're in the running. As soon as we open, we'll give you some dates to have the show. Right. And the first time I got it, I didn't really think much of it. And I was just like, I just deleted it. And then I got it again. And it was just like, all right, if you don't see your show on this list, it means that we don't have your show item. So please send us your information and then we'll put you on the list. And all I wrote back was just like literally the bare minimum of polite. I was just like, hey, I don't know how I got on this list, but I don't have any shows to submit. Thank you for reaching out. I love your Clubhouse. I love your theater. I love performing there. I'm glad you guys survived the pandemic. You know, just like literally the bare minimum. Like, I'm glad you survived the pandemic. Best of luck to you. Can't wait to perform there again. And the woman writes back immediately and goes, thank you so much for being kind. You were literally the only person that responded with kindness. Who's getting mad at that, right? Like the very minute, like the rudest I would have done was moved it to spam. That way I would never have to see it again. You know what I, like the very, like the rude, like, but who's yelling? It's just so crazy, guys. Just be fucking kind, man. I am a grumpy woman. I am grumpy, but like I'm grumpy to the woman who's walking around Target today, literally circling her cart and hitting almost I'm saying like walking like 6 feet and then flipping around and then walking 6 more feet and flipping around. And she almost ran into me and 3 other people. And I was like, dude, whatever you do, don't fucking look where you're going at all. And she like looked at me. You don't be nice to that person. Fuck that lady. But the guy behind the guest service, I was at like 9 Targets today. I will get to that. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, I believe. Actually, I've never been diagnosed, but pretty positive because I have many tendencies that whatever, it doesn't matter. But at one of the Targets I was at today, I was waiting for my order because I finally went to curbside, which I guess I should have done that in the beginning of my whole adventure, but I was fun to drive all over Los Angeles this afternoon. But I was like waiting for my order and I looked over at guest services and this guy was literally screaming at, not literally because it wasn't that loud, but it was like being like talking down to the cashier or the guest service person who, I don't know what he was trying to return something or whatever. And the woman was just like, or the kid, I have no idea. I was far away and I did want to stare. I was already bad enough that I was listening and kind of staring, but but like it's just like sometimes maybe they won't be able to help you, and maybe it's not like, yeah, it sucks if you miss, like you try to return something and you can't because you don't have the receipt or whatever, but like I don't know, it's not the fucking 15-year-old's fault behind the counter or the 36-year-old who's just trying to survive a pandemic. You know what I mean? It's like I worked at Target 4 years in high school. It was, and some in college, but then when I came back in college, it wasn't. I came back the first Christmas after college, freshman year of college, and it just wasn't, the magic was gone. I was like, oh, no, none of the, oh man. I didn't have this written down today, but I feel like I need to tell you guys this. So I used to work at Target. And yeah, people would yell at me all the time. And it was just like, I don't give a fuck. I would give you everything behind this counter for free. I literally don't care. These aren't my rules. You're yelling at the wrong person. You know what I mean? So like the point of the whole day, I will get to the Target thing because I forgot that I used to do this too. I owe this guy an amends. I mean, I don't, like, I guess it's a living amends because I couldn't pick this guy out of a lineup. I don't remember his last name and I don't do this anymore. But man, I harassed a kid that I worked at Target for years after I worked at Target. So anyway, so I get canceled on this job, and I'm also, do you guys hear that cat in the background? It just like breaks my concentration. I can't. Lucy. And then you feel bad. You don't want to like ruin her happy time. You find her when she's meow. I mean, she meows like that, like crazy. It's kind of embarrassing. Like when not embarrassing, but I was in a Zoom ACA meeting the other night and I was reading, and so I was unmuted, and she's just in the background just wailing, and I'm like, do I acknowledge? And then I look up and everyone is laughing, and then I got a bunch of messages that were like, your cat made all of us laugh so hard, and I'm like, it's just so funny. She just has a lot to say, and I had a boyfriend years ago when Henry used to be really vocal, and I'd be like, he's constantly meowing. And he goes, he has a lot to say. So does his mom. So maybe you could give him a break because you should be able to relate to that. And I was like, touche, sir, touche. So I was on a mission, 2 missions today. Trader Joe's discontinued my lactose-free hazelnut creamer. And I'm really mad about this. I mean, like really mad. It's ruined my mornings. Like it's ruined my coffee because I don't drink dairy, or I'm a lactose free human, or a dairy free human, or I try to be. I do the stuffed crust pizza like once every 4 months or so, and then I pay for it because if I eat like, I don't have an allergy, I don't believe, but if I eat gluten or dairy, I just feel like I drank a bottle of tequila for the next 48 hours, and sometimes it's worth it, man, but sometimes it's not. So I've been drinking this lactose-free creamer from Trader Joe's for the better part of a decade. I loved this stuff. And then one day it was gone. And then Trader Joe's, all the workers in the Hollywood Trader Joe's, and I don't mind calling them out. Maybe one of you listens to it and then you all can talk to each other and don't gaslight customers. The whole staff like gaslit me. I was like, because they had a new one that was where it was, and I was like, and it's a regular dairy creamer, and I'm like, hey, do you still have the lactose creamer? Oh, this is when I accidentally flirted with the guy. I don't know if I told you guys this. I got to take a sip of water. I know most podcasters just like edit that out, but I told you guys I don't edit my podcast. I think it's better though, right? That way, it's all off the cuff. Maybe that's why I'm not more successful, because I don't edit myself. Just kidding. I don't think that's true at all. Yeah. So I asked this Trader Joe's guy, I was like, hey, excuse me. And like, we all understand none of us know how to be out in public right now, right? Like last night I was around the most people I have been around in a year, or since I worked at the bar, right? So since I got COVID in 6 months, the most people. And it was just, I was a weirdo. I was a weirdo. We'll talk about that too. Hopefully. Wow. I got in here tonight and I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't really want to do this. And I don't really have anything to talk about. And here we are. I don't know why I ever think that I will lack for something to talk about. I am like my 2 cats. I have a lot to say. So I ask him for the creamer, but I like kind of stutter, and then I'm like blushing, but you can't really see through my mask. And then I'm like, I like stutter some, and then I touch his arm for some reason, and then I trip on myself and giggle, and he's like, oh, he like looked at me like, hey there. And I'm like, I'm not flirting with you. I'm just weird. Like, I don't know how to not be weird right now. And I ran into him again later in the store, and he was like, hey, but that guy and the cashier, 2 cashiers, I was like, no, there's a lactose free creamer. And the guy I accidentally flirted with was like, this is lactose free. And then I pointed to it and it said, it's a dairy creamer, whatever dairy creamers say. And he was like, oh, well then the other one that you were drinking had dairy in it. And I was like, no, it didn't. It was lactose free. It literally said it like the biggest writing on there other than hazelnut. It said lactose free in giant writing. And he's like, oh, I don't think so. He's like, I think that you probably just misread it. I'm like, so you've been telling me I've been just drinking dairy creamer for 10 years and I've been like not noticing the difference? Believe me, I noticed the difference. I'm either really, really constipated or I fucking shit my brains out. There's a difference when I eat dairy, Trader Joe's guy. So then I went up to the cashier, and I asked him, and he goes, no, this is the same one. And I was like, there's dairy in it. And then him and the other woman looked at it and they're like, oh, then the other one had dairy too. And I was like, no, it didn't. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. We work here. They didn't say it like that, but they may as well have. They're like, oh, we've worked here a long time. We don't think that you probably didn't get it here. And I was like, I did get it here. And you ruined my mornings, Trader Joe's. You ruined it. Because I guess people think lactose-free creamer equals either not sweetened at all, just like milk, but like creamy milk. That's not milk. Or Trader Joe's has a coconut creamer. Oh, I'm so mad about this. A coconut creamer, but it's literally like this big. You can't see me unless you're watching on YouTube, which I haven't posted these on YouTube in a while. I'll update them soon. But like the size of my hand, right? Like this tiny ass thing for like $3. And it's like, fine, I'll spend the $3 because it's literally my favorite part of the morning. I drink this wonderful cup of coffee while I write, and I love it. I love it. So you have to buy like 52 of them in order to like last for your 2 weeks of groceries. So you don't have to keep having to go back to fucking Trader Joe's. I'm so mad. I finally went to another Trader Joe's and the guy validated me. He goes, oh yeah, we discontinued that. Not a lot of people got it, but you didn't make it up. I'm like, thank you. I really, really wanted to go back to my original Trader Joe's and tell them that they were wrong, but I felt like that would make me look Just a little crazy. Just a little crazy. So I was on a mission today. Like already the mission was going to be find these cleaning supplies and find a lactose-free creamer. And I looked on Amazon and Coffee Mate has a lactose-free creamer that's vanilla and it's sweetened. And it's like, but they're like, we can send you 2 giant jugs, but they won't jugs. Sorry. Wow. I'm a 14-year-old boy. 2 giant jugs but it'll be there like June 10th. And I'm like, what? I'll just drive something. Like, who is what? When did Amazon stop? I feel like the pandemic and they're like, we're invincible. I don't know. Amazon is my next thing to tackle to not use anymore, but it's so hard. God. Okay. So I was like, I'm going to find a dairy-free creamer. And the place that told me where it would be was Walmart. I hate Walmart. I hate it there. Like I am a judgy bitch in Walmart. I'm so sorry, but I go in there and I just see just the bottom. That's so terrible. If you go to Walmart, I'm really sorry. I'm not judging you. I know they have really good deals. It's not that. It's just like the most inconsiderate, gross people. And you're just like, ugh. And I think it just reminds me of part of my upbringing. And I think that it's just triggering. So please don't be like, oh my God, that's it. Please don't DM me about why you go to Walmart. I'm not putting down Walmart. Well, fuck Walmart though, by the way. Like fuck Walmart. I don't like going there because they don't pay their workers living wages and you look at this like Costco does, and Costco also has lower prices. So when they're like, well, if we pay them living wages, you're going to have to pay more. It's like, no, the Waltons or whoever the hell, I don't know. I don't think they're called the Waltons. I think that's an 1860s like sitcom that my mom was really into, or 70s. I don't know. But I think she had a lunchbox anyway. But yeah, I just like the whole Walmart situation just completely grosses me out. Just all of it, like all the way up to the top, just gross. Right. And, the workers there are very nice. So very, very nice. Everyone told me hello and have a good day. So I'm not putting down the workers, just people that go in there and the people who own it. Not all the people, but you know, it's probably just triggering. It reminds me of the hillbillies and the Jehovah's Witnesses. Very triggering. But it said that this is the place that had the creamer. And so I'm looking for the creamer. And it's like, well, it has a milk diverence, or I can't remember the word now. I had to look it up. And it was like, it doesn't have milk, but it's a derivative that it is. And it's not lactose, but it is milk. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go to the bathroom. I'm really mad at this point because I'm drinking a lot of water right now. So I'm peeing constantly, which I just find totally annoying. I'm like going to the bathroom is one of the most wastes of time. That's probably why I've peed and pooped my pants so much in my adult life, because I just avoid going until it's an emergency. I probably gotta look into that. But so I go to the bathroom and I see someone's cell phone in there and I'm like, I gotta return this. I was just so irritated about this creamer. I was so irritated. So I wait in line to return the phone, and then I get up to the thing, and she was like, "You're not next. He is." Like something like so rude. And that woman wasn't polite. That Walmart worker wasn't polite. The rest of them were really, really polite. But I was just like, as soon as she knew why I was up there, then she was polite. She's like, "You're not next." And by the way, I was next. I don't know if the guy left and came back or whatever, but I was like, I'm not in line. I'm just, someone left their phone in the bathroom. Here you go. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you." It's just like, I don't know. Today was... So I once I get something in my brain, I can't let it go. So I finally find lactose-free creamer. I don't know if I had some other almond stuff that just tastes like, I don't know, we're going to try this one again. This is from Starbucks. It is based on one of their hazelnut drinks, and we'll see what happens. I, at this point, have 3 giant jugs of lactose-free creamer in my refrigerator that is disgusting, and it's ruining my mornings. I'm so mad about this. I don't even know if this is interesting or not, but this was my day. But this is my like obsessive compulsive, like once something's in my head, and that's why I know I'm going to be successful at one point, right? Because once my mind's set on something, I will not, like, I'm going to release a book on June 18th of this year. So that's 1 month from today. So 1 month when you listen tomorrow, that'll be the 1 month from yesterday, which is today when I'm recording. Sorry. 1 month from the 18th. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I just burped. Yuck. 1 month from the 18th. And like, I'm a little bit behind, but not really, like a couple of days behind in my goal on my track. But I also know that like, I'm really good at procrastinating. I'm really good under pressure. And once I've decided something, I fucking do it. And so today it was lactose-free creamer and these cleaning products. And so I go to Target number 1 and they're out of it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're out of it, which really bums me out because I bet they weren't, because I found another, at every other Target, they had it in 2 spots, which now I could have saved a lot. There was a few lessons I learned today that could have saved a little bit more time, but whatever. I'm like, okay, it's not here. And I was just like, you know what? We'll just see where the next Target is. If there's a close Target by, I'll go to that one. And there's one like 7 miles away, but it's like 20 minutes because it's LA, right? And the world's coming back, so traffic's back. So I'm like, all right, I'll just go to this one Target and then I'll call it. So I go to that Target and they don't have it. And I was like, all right, well, there's another Target on my way home. I'll just stop at that Target. So now I'm at 3 Targets, right? And by the way, the other 2 Targets, one was like, I don't know, one was, I'm not proud of this, guys. But the first one was only like 12 miles away from my house. And then the second one was like 12 miles away from that. And then the third one was closer to my house. So like, it was like, all right, I'm close. I'm going to go home. And the third one had 2 of the products. And then I was like, all right, the 2 out of the 3 is not bad. That's fine. That's fine. And so I get to the car and I was like, well, I mean, it wouldn't kill me to go try like one more Target, would it? Like, I mean, it's only, at this point, it was only like 12:30. And I'm like, I would be in that market research thing until like 2 anyway. So I'll just go try one more Target. So then I go try one more Target and they don't have it. But then the girl tells me another Target has it. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to that Target. Guys, I literally went to 6 Targets today. I drove 40 miles outside of Los Angeles to another Target. I used gas. Like, I spent in gas the money I saved on these bottles. But whatever, I'm helping the environment. Maybe not with the gas, but I have a pretty gas efficient car. And also these bottles are glass and I'll be using them forever. Maybe not forever. They may break or I may die. I don't know. But one will happen. And then so the woman was like, well, there's a Target. She goes, maybe you don't want to go this far, but this Target says they have it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to that one, which was kind of cool. I actually saw an old friend at this Target. She works there. And I was like, oh, hey. And we actually got to like catch up because we haven't seen each other since, the world ended. And she was like, why are you all the way out here? I was in like Panorama City or some shit. I don't even know. I was so far away. I was on a freeway that I'd never even heard of. I explained, she goes, oh, okay. I mean, she was like, I understand. I get it. We all, they're obsessive people understand obsessive. Like I have some mental things I need to work through, or I am working through. So they don't have it, by the way, at this Target. That's like 40 miles out. And I'm like, okay, go home. You got 2 out of the 3 products. Just go home. So as I'm driving, I'm like, well, I could probably just like Google it when I get home and maybe like another Target will have it. And then Google was like, yeah, you can just do curbside pickup. And so I was like, what? So Target looks like they have the final 2. So I put them in my cart and they're like, it'll be ready in an hour. And I was like, oh my God, I should have just done this morning. And then when it's like, you're ready, but you got to go to 2 separate Targets. So I drove to 2 more Targets and now I have the cleaning supplies. And now I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted because I drove around all day. Those are the 2 main goals: refile unemployment and finish my book, which finish my book and refile unemployment and record this. The finish my book rough draft, our last couple chapters. My God, the kitten again. It's like the most important one, but my brain would not have been. And now I'm so tired because I just have fatigue now. So that's, but it's all right. We'll do it again tomorrow. We can live to fight another day. And the book's going to get done because all the chapters are almost done anyway. Like it's just like maybe another 2 hours worth of work. And then, oh my God, I will have a book and then we will have a published book and maybe you guys will maybe buy it. That would be really exciting. I'm going to have it out on my birthday because I'm not going to have like a big birthday party. Like obviously last year I didn't, but this year the bars will be opened up by then, and I'm not drinking, or I just don't want to, even if I do have a drink or two before then, or then I don't know, a big party sounds like the last thing on the planet I'd want to do. So I thought I'd do like a marketing ploy and be like, hey, if you normally would come to my birthday party and buy me a drink, so this book is as much as a Los Angeles drink. Is that shitty? Is that blackmail? I don't know, manipulative? I don't know. So my callback updates, if you remember last week when I was on my high horse about the callbacks, I didn't get either one of them. One callback went really, really well. There's nothing it's so, hit or miss or whatever. It was fun. I had fun, it was weird. I was really hard on myself. And then I was like, I haven't seriously gone after acting in a very, very long time. And I have not had a callback in years. And I didn't have very many back then. So I had 2 in a week. These are the first of many callbacks. If you know what it's just like, I'm different now. And a lot of it was just inconsistency of going after it. Like a lot, I had a lot of demons and a lot of shit I was working through and didn't know I was working through, and I was, partying nonstop and running from my insides. And so and then the second callback, it didn't go that great, but a lot of it didn't go that great because 2 things. One, my friend who got me the audition, and then when I text her and said, this was the coolest response, I was like, oh, I didn't get the job. And she was like, oh man, I'm really sorry. But you know what's going to be cool? Finding out why. And I was like, huh? She goes, every time you don't get something, that means like something way better is in store for you. And you wouldn't have gotten that way better thing if you got that other thing. So I just can't wait to see what you get instead, because you're going to get something way cooler is going to come about that you're going to be like, thank God I didn't get that. And she said it like much more condensed. She's not as chatty as I am, but like first of all, what a cool friend to have, right? Like she's a friendship that came out of, if you remember the bride, I backed out of her wedding. This woman was kicked out of the wedding, and we were friends before that, but we were always this girl's friend, right? So it was always like this, it was always like, oh, she was the bride. I'll call her the bride. She was always the bride's friend. And I realized recently that I had a lot of preconceived notions about her. Some really bad. And it wasn't like I was actively, like, she and I see each other and hang out all the time, and I adore this woman. And I told her this too. I was like, God, I realized a while ago that it was like, it wasn't that I was actively always like, but there was always in the back of my mind certain shit that I thought of her that I never experienced firsthand, but the bride had just incessantly talked shit about her. This was one of the bride's best friends. And so I just always had this this view of her. And the more I got to know her without the bride in our lives, I was just like, none of that's true at all. And I asked her, I was like, was there, she goes, oh yeah. And I was like, also the bride used to say how much you didn't like me, that like the 2 of them would go hang out, and she'd be like, oh, she didn't want you to come. So, and my new friend, I'm purposely not saying names because I don't know how bad anybody wants their name to be said on this, and now none of that's true. And she was like, yeah, she goes, I didn't know you enough to like not like you. It's just so funny. But anyway, so this woman, I love that response where it was just like, it's going to be cool to find out why. And I was like, and I thought she meant like, when I go into work, they're going to be like, oh man, she was a terrible actress. And she's like, no, it's going to be fun to find out like what the universe has in store for you instead. And I was just like, that's such a good. And then it was also like, so it was like an immersive theater audition callback, right? So it was cool enough that I got a callback, because I haven't had a theater audition in 20 years. And I haven't, so like a theater audition. But the shitty thing is, so 2 things happened. One, I was supposed to improv a character and I misunderstood what they were looking for. And then when I got there, they re-explained it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, I was supposed to be like a character collecting tickets, but a character inside this like Wizard of Oz place kind of. And so I was supposed to have like this wild character collecting, but I thought it was just a regular tourist going inside of the wild like Wizard of Oz place. And I just panicked and then just had this weird, forced, awkward conversation about my husband and cats and how pregnant all my cats were. With the casting director, and then it was just going on, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go check another ticket, and I was like, I forgot that you guys were gonna stop me, or I forgot if I was supposed to stop myself, and the other casting director goes, I would have stopped you soon. I was like, okay. So then the scripted thing that I did, I think I did all right on that. But afterwards, I had to sit down and I was like visibly winded. And I was just like, I'm really sorry. I have long COVID. So I'm sure that shot me in the foot too. But then also my friend who got me the job, she goes, I didn't even think about that. You would have to do that part over and over and over again for like 9 hours. And I physically can't do that shit. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning. I'm just trying to figure out what the next step is, especially if this unemployment gets declined. I don't want to put that out there too much. I just don't know, I know I can appeal it, and I know that there's other options, and I have so many friends. I'm so lucky. I have so many friends that have so much knowledge about so much random shit that someone somewhere is going to be like, all right, this is, what I like. So I know it's going to work out. But it is a grieving thing. I'm in a long COVID Facebook support group, which has actually been extremely comforting and helpful. Because, you listen to people who have like autoimmune diseases, and I don't know what this is going to come out to be, but like, they're always like, yeah, people are really insensitive about it, because if you look okay, then they're like, well, you can't be sick because you look okay. And that sounds so cliche, but guys, do you know how many people have said, I'm so glad you're doing better? And it's like, well, what made you think a normal 3 to 4 hour Target run would have made me, I drink so much coffee too. So I should be awake forever. But instead I'm like, I am going to go to bed tonight at 8:30 PM. But so like, it's, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't know. Yeah. Don't say that shit to people. Like, ask them how they're doing. Don't, just because it's just like, I don't want to be a bummer. You know what I mean? Like I was out last night and I found myself talking about it a lot. And then people had a lot of questions, and then no one knew what to say after they found out how bad it was. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it was just like, yeah, I have a new thing that's happening that started like 3 days ago. And maybe it's because I am now starting to really go out in the world, and I probably need to have a full day rest soon. I don't know when that'll happen. Maybe Friday. I don't know. Now I'm just working on my schedule out of my head on the podcast. Sorry. But I probably need like a full day rest at some point, because a new thing started like 3 days ago. My body, my chest and my throat, my whole respiratory system, I suppose, feels like it did when I was smoking and I had like a particularly wild night of smoking. Like I smoked like a pack and a half of cigarette. Like I feel like, and I felt like that consistently for about 4 or 5 days now. I think 4 or 5, I don't know what day it is. But I feel like I smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes. So that'll be fun. I'm trying to find a new doctor, and maybe we can get some help. It'll all be good. But I got hired to be a part of a murder mystery dinner. And it was so much fun. I really hope they ask me back. I don't know if they'll ask me back, but I hope they will. According to my friend who works there, she was like, yeah, they love you. You were great. You're definitely coming back. You're already on the schedule. It's not, but it was like, I had to sing. Oh my God, I had to sing. So it's like a murder mystery dinner. And if you've ever done like a murder mystery detective dinner. And so I was one of the guests, but also someone who was murdered. But like, I didn't realize, like, I went to one once a long time ago as an adult. I was an adult. My cousin Maggie was like, that sounds like a fun thing to bring the kids to. I was like, I was a full-blown adult with like one other full-blown adult. By the way, there was only really adults here. But so like, I remember we were pretty far in the back. So but everyone looked like you could tell who the actors were. Right. But this, they didn't want us to know who the actors were. So we were just like plants in the audience, right? And then, except for the two detectives and then the host, right? So, like me and this guy were sitting together at a table, and we were. Oh my God, I felt something. Is someone in here? No. Okay. I don't know. I think like I have a fear that you guys know about Darth Vader. Okay. I don't have to admit that again. I don't have to admit that 4 or 5 more times. But so we were like sitting at the dinner, and then we come in as guests, right? We come in as guests, we eat dinner, we like laugh, we clap, and then they like call us out, and they like, you know, like they'll like, cause they go to different random guests and ask them questions and like interrogate them or whatever. And so we were one of the random like people that bought a ticket that they were like interrogating. And so my character was a youth pastor. And as I'm reading the script, it's like, and then when you run the choir, so the youth choir, so then they're going to ask you to sing. And I was like, oh God, does this guy think I can fucking sing? And they were like, it'll be a lot funnier if you can't sing. And I'm like, all right. So I had to sing Living on a Prayer. Oh my God. I was so freaked out. So I was like, and then they were like, don't worry. The other actors were like, don't worry. Most people will just start singing as soon as they know what the song is. They'll start singing it with you. So I only had to do the chorus. So I started it, and now like it was like "Shot to the Heart." Like the song has been in my head for 5 days now. But they don't sing it along with me. I'm singing in front of 40 people. I'm not a singer, guys. I'm not a singer at all. I'm singing in front of 40 people. I still can't believe I did this. I'm singing in front of 40 people, and then they what am I saying? Oh, and then I like stop and I go, sing along with me. And then they sing along with me. And then I sit down and then I leave. So then dinner comes, and then I leave to go to the bathroom after I'm done eating. And then that's when I come in and get killed. And then I had to come in. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. It was so fun though, but it was so scary. So I had this bloody shirt on underneath my, my jacket, and they were like, bring your bloody shirt. So everybody, I guess, on the cast has a bloody shirt. And my friend was just like, she goes, yeah, she goes, you'll just have one bloody shirt and just keep it and you'll always use it. And I was like, well, where do you get the blood? And I was like, do I have to get like, do they sell fake blood, or do I go to like a butcher and get like pig's blood? She was like, what? And I was like, oh, what? She's like, no, you don't go to what? And I was like, I don't know. And she goes, most people just use red nail polish. I was willing to go to a butcher. I don't eat pork. I don't want it. Like, the whole pig thing. I've also started to follow a bunch of pig Instagrams, and I just can't. Right. But I was willing. I was like, I guess I just get like blood from the meat, the slaughter place. What, I don't know what it's called. So then I leave, and then I get killed. So then I have to burst into the room. So again, there's like 40 people in there, and I have to sing "Stabbed in the Gut, but who's to blame? Oh my God, I'm in so much pain." And then I had to scream some more. And but first you scream when you enter the room, so everyone looks at you, and then you scream, "I've been stabbed!" And then you break character, and then you run to the front of the room and you go, "Stabbed in the gut." But oh my God. And then but right before you go out, like anything, I was like, I'm like, you will look dumber if you're shy about it. But if you if you go for it, it'll be great. But if you get uncomfortable and you're weird about it, then it'll be weird. And then it was really, really fun. And then the weird thing is I really hope I get to go back. It was awesome. But then they had, there was like 10 high school kids that were there, and they were all sitting on a big table. By the way, this is the first time I've eaten indoors in almost a year. It was so weird. And, but they had like 10 high school kids all sitting together, and me and the guy the other actor were sitting together. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't really that shy to do this in front of adults, but like in front of high school kids, like high school kids made me like high school kids have never thought I was cool. You know what I mean? Like, do we all revert back to like high school kids are terrifying? But it was funny. So when they come out, and the adults that are with them were like, so what is this? Like, I guess after the show, you wait in the hallway, and then people come out and tell you what a good job you do. It was really fun, but it was really, I was like, do we bow? And my friend was like, don't bow. And I was like, I don't know. But the teacher that I guess was with them, she goes, this is a class where we teach the kids how to order at a restaurant. Like we take the class to like a restaurant. We teach them how to order at a restaurant and how to like be like restaurant etiquette, like how to tip, how to talk to a server. And they were like, this is literally the only place that we could find that was open that would take 10 kids or 10 people. And we were like, oh, that's so sweet. It's so funny. Those like, I don't know, hopefully they have more classes, like life skill classes. We had a class in junior high that was, I don't know what it was called, but we had to go to our parents and get like a permission slip because it was like teaching us like life shit. And my dad was like really bent out of shape about it. He's like, this is my job. It's my job to teach you this stuff. It's not the school's job, which is hilarious because my father, you know, he kept me fed and clothed. He literally did the bare minimum and then did a bunch of other extracurricular stuff he shouldn't have done. And but he was super bent out of shape about it. And the funny thing is that class, all it was we just watched movies like Rebel Without a Cause and drew pictures. Like, I don't remember anything. I remember I met Simon McKenzie, who went on to be a really hot soccer player in high school, but he was like a nerdy, like nervous 7th grader, and we were little friends. And then we went to high school and he became really hot and popular, and I did not. I wonder where he is now. I wonder if he got hotter. I should look him up. Simon McKenzie. Just kidding. I like, so you can't see me, but I like zoned out and I was like, I wonder what that guy's up to. Just kidding. But so it was, so they were like, yeah, that's what this class was. But the funny part is so they like leave and all the kids are like, thank you, thank you. And then one of the teenage boys looks at me and goes, you were really good. Sorry, I thought you were the murderer. And then left. And I was like, oh, it was a really fun time. So it's been a wild week. It's been, I don't know. There's a lot of ups and downs. To update you, I guess, about my dude situation, there's not really much to update you about. I got some personal shit I need to work through. Some of my codependency stuff, and we're supposed to maybe talk tomorrow or the next day. I'm just trying to let it be for now because I'm getting so. Like, it's partially him being, again, it's just he's being distant and avoidant and he's busy, and I'm being codependent and clingy, and that's just not a good combo. And so I don't want to lose him in my life, and I can feel myself, my hypervigilance being like, let's just get to the end, just so we can get to the end and we can just breathe. And I'm like, just take it a day at a time. I am hoping that when we talk in the next couple of days that we can come to some sort of communicative, I don't know where we're at now, but I hope it's not. I think we're like 4 or 5 steps away from it being over. So I'm hoping that we cannot be that because he is special to me. But I'm a little bit more grounded and a little bit less freaked out. As you noticed, I think last week I was just like, I don't know what else to talk about except for this one thing. But yeah, I have my first show in Lancaster. So if you're in Lancaster, California, I am opening for Greg Wilson on Monday. I am very excited about this. I will post it on my Instagram and my website tomorrow or the next day, so you guys can get it, information. And then I also am at the Comedy Chateau, which is a new club in North Hollywood on Thursday the 27th. I have comp tickets for that. So if you're in town and you want to go to that, I will be updating this all on my website. And then I went to this big show last night that has like, it's like a new, so I went to an open mic with this girl. And then she was like, do you want to go to this like big new club that is like all of the big comics are like Anthony Jeselnik, Liza Schlesinger, Bill Burr, like these guys are all there like every night. Right. And like it's like and it's outdoors. It's fucking gorgeous. And I've been so bummed out that I'm not on it, even though I haven't been there. I don't submit to it. I haven't been on stage. Like, you know, it's just like the whole like missing out, but like not really sure what I want to do. And after last night, getting back on stage, it was like, yep, this is the thing. This is the thing I do. And so this girl I went to the mic with, she's like, do you want to go? It's called Supernova Comedy. You're in LA, you should check it out. It's wild. It's a wild lineup every night. And so I was like, yeah, let's show up. And it was I'm struggling today. I think I need to look more into this. So I will let you know more next week, but I think I have something called imposter syndrome. Like, I'm terrified that people are going to find out that I'm a fraud. And I know that that's not true. I don't know. And this is a weird, because I don't really have ending or a conclusion to any of this. So this is a weird way to end the podcast, that this is how I'm feeling. But I just like, I have this like, and I have this feeling too. I think I shared it in another episode that like when I receive a lot of love or a lot of like, when I receive a lot of love, I get really uncomfortable. Like I don't deserve it. It just makes me very, like I'm more comfortable in the like abandonment and chaos. And I know, unfortunately, I think that is just my baseline, and that's not bad. And with work and what I am doing is, I'm changing those. But when my brain was in development, I received a lot of abuse, and I became comfortable and safe in violence and abuse. And so now that I am not around it, and when I'm around love, I get really uncomfortable, and I'm afraid. I can't quite place the feeling, but it is really uncomfortable. I'm not enough. I don't deserve this. I'm a fraud. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here. The good news is I'm able to know, like, I know that that voice isn't real. Do you know what I mean? Like, because years ago I would just sabotage it. I would just like not show up. And now I'm just like, I just walk through the fear, just walk through it and do affirmations. I write, I'm easy to love. I'm enough. I'm worthy. I'm deserving. I write all that every morning. I do affirmations. And if you don't, and you're struggling with this kind of thing, I recommend it. I'm powerful, because last night I showed up at this club where every big comic in the world is coming right now, right? Maybe not in the world. That's a little exaggerating, but in the country, like some of the biggest comics in the country have been performing at this club. And I showed up. And not only did I know almost everybody, people were happy to see me. Like comics that I like admire and look up to were genuinely like, oh my God, hey, how was that? Like hugging and like I was just like, I was overwhelmed. A friend came up to me who is going to be on the podcast soon. She is hilarious, Monterey Martinez. So funny. She came up to me and she tapped me, and I just like, it was like such like a sensory overload, because I just haven't been around this many people in 6 months. And I like looked at her, and she's like, and I'm like, oh my God, hey. And she goes, wow. And I'm like, did you see how I like blanked? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, it's not you. I'm like overwhelmed. I haven't been around people, and I'm trying to acclimate. But she was just she's like, oh my God, your podcast. If you're listening right now, hi, Monterey. She was just so complimentary and so lovely. And then another woman was just like, oh, this is Kim. She's hilarious. And I'm like, what? Like, I am so uncomfortable today. And then the guy that runs it, I just walked over and said, hey, to him, hi, what's up? And he goes, hey, hit me up. I want to get you on the show. I was like, what? Like this show that like, and I'm going to hit him up, obviously. Old Kim would have not hit him up, but I'm going to hit him up. There's a whole long backstory why I didn't do it today, and it's very boring. It's much more boring than the cleaning supplies, dairy-free creamer debacle. So I won't bore you with that. But I left. The cool thing is it was also like I left and I went to bed and I woke up early. Like the only shitty thing about not drinking is that I don't really get a lot of the benefits from not drinking, right? I haven't drank in over 6 months. And normally if you are sober, like if you like cut out, alcohol for even a week, you like kind of feel great, right? Which goes to kind of tell you, maybe we shouldn't be drinking, right? But like I don't have any of the benefits of it because I just feel drunk or hungover all the time. That's just part of the COVID stuff. And now I guess I feel like I smoked 40 cigarettes at a time. And so like, but the cool news is that like, it was like fine. Like they were like, we're going to go to an after party. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go to bed. I have an early morning, and they were like, cool, so good to see you. But I left, and it was just, I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. But I still got a lot of mental work to do. I still have a lot of inside work to do, because there's still a very prominent voice inside of me that tells me I don't belong in places like that, and I'm not talented enough, and I'm not good enough. And even with the guy, like, there's that prominent voice in there that is like, you have to hold on to him so tight so he doesn't forget how great you are, because if you don't hold on so tight, then he'll leave because he'll forget. And it's just like, none of that is true. None of it is. And I don't know, I'm working through it, and I have a plan and a program and support. And, I have a wild amount of support around me, and I'm in a wonderful 12-step program that is, most of the people that go into those rooms relate to what I'm saying so hard. I just don't feel like I deserve good things. That is hard to say. That is really hard to say, because it's not pretty. It's not attractive to feel that way about yourself. But it's not, as I've said before, there are several voices, and it's not the dominant voice anymore. But it's still there, and I don't know if I haven't gotten this far before, so I don't know if it'll one day go away. I'm hopeful it will. It's gotten quieter. The other voices are like, shut up, Dan. I don't know who Dan is. Oh, Brandy. We had this, my high school friend, her name was Brandy, and she visited me at college a couple of times, and she was not kind to me in high school. And I have not spoken to her in 15 years. But she would be like any of my friends in college who I still am in contact with, who were best friends in college, she would be like, oh, you think you know Kim? I know Kim since she was, and it'd be like, shut up, Brandy. So that's what I say when someone, I don't know, that the only person who will know what that means is Katie. My best friend Katie listens to this, and I'm going to see her in 3 days, and I couldn't be doing more mental cartwheels, but she always is like, she'll get the shut up, Brandy. But that's what the rest of my voices are saying to the voice that's like, you don't belong here. I do belong there. And I've worked really hard. To get where I'm at. And I'm fucking funny, bro. Yeah, so that is the episode. Oh, I forgot to do poop scoop. Guys, you ready for your poop scoop? I don't have one. I have been tracking my poop in a poop tracker, and I'm trying to get a hold of my poop situation. I'm trying to understand why I have such erratic poops, and maybe figure out a solution to, because I don't think anybody else has this problem, or most people don't have this problem, where they are either shitting their brains out and it's an emergency, or they haven't pooped for 5 days. So that is what I'm doing. I'm spending 2 weeks doing something that I'm putting only clean shit in my body besides lactose-free creamer. You will not take that away from me. That is the only thing I have left. So dramatic, but none of that's true. But I'm doing this juice thing in the morning, and I'm tracking all my food, and I'm just trying to do a 2-week tracker to try and see. That's not a good poop scoop. All right, here's another one. This is someone else's story, and I'm not going to use their name because they have not given me permission to tell this story, but they did tell me, and they do know I talk about this on the crawl space. They don't listen though, I don't think, but it's an old friend of mine. He has a daughter. I don't think I can tell the story, guys. And this should tell you how much you should send me your poop scoop stories, because I don't have permission to tell the story that I was about to tell, even though I was going to not use her name and not use use nondescript stuff so no one would ever know who she was. Inside, I didn't feel okay breaching that. So send me your poop scoop stories. That way I can tell them, or I'm going to have to figure out how to just start shitting my pants on the regular. More than I already do. So I guess that's your poop scoop, is just a plead to please send me your stories. I'm out of them. Roger sent 6. And you don't have to be like Roger. Some people, I don't use their names. Roger all but like signed an autograph. He was so proud of all the times he's pooped his pants. I love you, Roger. I get to see him in like 4 days too. So excited. So that's the poop scoop, is me telling you I'm tracking my poop, and also that I'm tracking my poop, and that I'm trying to live a life where I don't shit my pants all the time, or I don't go poop for days and days. That is the new life that I'm trying to live. And I don't know if that is a good enough poop scoop. I'll do better next week. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I will do I am one lucky broad, though. I am one lucky broad. I am one lucky broad that a lot of opportunity is coming in my life. And though I'm really uncomfortable and there are voices that are telling me I don't belong there or deserve it, I am walking through all of that because I am good enough and I do deserve it. And I am awesome. And so I'm one lucky broad that I have proof over and over again that is true. I belong in these rooms and I belong on those stages. And I belong on this podcast. Well, of course I do. It's Crawl Space, but you know what I mean? I belong on people listening to, I think it's called imposter syndrome. So I'll look that up and then we'll talk more about it next week. If you have any information on that, send it my way. Oh yeah, if you have any poop scoop, any information on that, any lucky broad, anything you want to send me, it's kimkralspace@gmail.com. KYMKRALSPACE@gmail.com. Also, I'll have this is the first time in the podcast history because, no, I guess that's a lie. That was a bold-faced lie. I did 3 live shows in the pandemic when it was safe. But I will be updating my calendar. I have 2 live shows next week. If you are in Los Angeles or in Lancaster, please come see me and support. I would love it. And I'd love to meet, if you are a listener, I'd love to meet you if I haven't already. And if you get a second, please leave a rating and a review. I'm going to read a review that was sent by someone called Hello and No. Oh, Hello and No. Hello. Hey, no, it's Hello and No. Jesus Christ. It says, awesome pod, 5 stars. Had to give this podcast a 5-star review. Completely relatable, and I'm always looking forward to new episodes. Oh, it's really nice. I don't know who that is. That's so nice. If that's you, thank you. Thank you. See, look how happy that made me. So if you have a second, please leave a rating and a review. It just does so much. It does a lot to get the podcast in different platforms and get in front of different people that it wouldn't already. So please subscribe, rate, review, share. I would love that. I have a Patreon. I will be recording a bonus episode this week and I'll get it out. And then there will be another one next week. So don't worry. There will be 2 bonus episodes because I promised you 4 in May since I missed 2 in April. And then there's other tiers and just any support, any and all support you can give would be awesome. The Patreon is in my website, link in my bio on my Instagram. I think that's it. I think that's it, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this every week. You guys send me a lot of messages that tell me how much this has helped you get through this last year and how much you look forward to it. And a lot of people that I've never physically met and didn't know before I started Crawl Space. So just know that even if I haven't responded, know that I'm just really bad at it. And I'm really, really, really working on not being bad at it. And the problem is that like, if I'm bad, like if I just stayed on top of it, but the thing is that I more come in and then I'm like, oh no. And then it gets more overwhelming because I have anxiety, right? Oh man, just my issues have issues. But I guess that should be the one lucky broad. But thank you. I want you to know that it just means a lot. I sit in here and I get to just talk about some of the most random shit that I never thought I would be able to just sit and talk about, and that people are showing up every week and listening and getting out of it. Even half as much as I get putting into it means the world to me. So thank you. Be safe out there. And I'm going to stand by what I said at the beginning of the podcast, and I'm probably going to name it this, but you catch more bees with honey. So I know that sounds really douchey, but it's so true. Just be kind. Just be kind. It's really hard out there right now. I mean, it always is, but there's just a lot of shit going on. And there's a lot of there's a lot of scary shit going on. Just be kind. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.